I'm admitting myself today. I have depression and I'm suicidal. I finally reached my breaking point, where I know I can't handle it without professional help. I'm terrified, not because I'm going to be admitted, but because I don't like to talk about things. But I know that it's what's best for me, and even though I don't want to necessarily live, I have a handful of decent reasons to attempt to stick around. Wish me luck. Edit. Hey guys, since a lot of you asked for an update, here it is. Due to past trauma, I was referred to a specialty clinic for counseling and future medications I'll need. The stay was hectic and a little scary at first, but all the staff was very nice and helpful. It allowed me to get the starter medications I need and the resources to continue my healing. Thanks for all the love and support. I never expected this many people to care. I just wanted to put it out there in the universe that I was seeking help, and I hope it was able to help others seeking help. To everyone who is suffering from mental health issues, I wish you all the best, and I hope you too can seek help to start your own healing. You are important. I know the feeling of being worthless, and I'm definitely not "cured" by any means, but the first step was monumental in what I'm sure will be a long road to feeling normal. Peace. I can finally touch my toes. Only the fingertips, but still. I've literally never been able to do this in my entire life. Holy shit. I made my boyfriend's mom cry today. She has been going through a lot recently. She lost her own mother a couple months ago, and she herself had a bit of a health scare just last month. So I saved up some money and splurged on a beautiful custom $80 flower bouquet to give to her for Mother's Day. I didn't even tell my boyfriend I was doing this. When I brought it to her today, her face lit up with such a pure happiness. We hugged, and when she pulled back, she had let a couple tears slip. She said that none of her son's past girlfriends have ever bought her flowers, especially not on Mother's Day, and it meant a lot to her, especially since this was her first Mother's Day without her mom. I nearly started bawling. She deserves the world, and even though I've only known her for 3 years, I love her like family, and I know she loves me too. I want to leave my wife of 20 years because of her PTSD. She has battled this thing for over 10 years. Complex PTSD resulting in anxiety, depression, OCD and panic attacks. The first 6-7 years were great, and whatever was hiding in her was manageable. Intermittent episodes were warnings for something much more severe further down the road. Today, the person I fell in love with is no longer there. Every day something is lost. None of the things we loved to do and dreamt of doing together forever seems feasible. Just to name a few fears. All soaps, detergents, aerosols, unknown chemicals, salt water balance of the body, every new medicine, down to saline drops for dry eyes, gas stations, food prepared from anyone but me. In short, there is one chair in the living room and the bed that are safe zones. She is surviving, not living. We have a special needs son and a daughter who, although is not special needs, requires normal parental guidance. I have all the house chores. My wife exists and complains. I have lost hope. I want to leave her, but I fear the consequences for her. I make $100K a year, and she barely makes $30. She will not be able to rent something in the school precinct we live in. She will barely have enough money to get by on a month-to-month basis. I fear that leaving will take her into a deep depression and end her. So I stay, but I'm becoming severely depressed. I wake up with a black lump in my chest every day, a persistent gloom that I muster enough energy to shake whenever I interact with the kids. Every day, wake up, make a fire in the fireplace, empty the dishwasher, fill it with whatever is on the counter, make breakfast and lunchbox for the schoolgirl, walk the dog, go to work, come home, put the stuff on the counter in the dishwasher, put on a machine of clothes, prepare dinner, set the table, eat, clear the table, make coffee, pretend to have a good time with wife, talk about practicalities, fold some clothes, walk the dog for a long walk, make supper, clean up after supper, get the kids to bed, stare into the abyss until you have to go to bed, rinse, repeat. I just wanted to shout this into the ether. I don't think I will leave her, but I want to. I want to live, not survive. My wife is in our garage right now, refusing to talk to me or come inside. I'm genuinely confused. She does this thing when we fight where she will suddenly get really afraid of me, except it doesn't make sense. It's always when she's really upset me and I just get kind of distant and I question if we should be together. She will seem just terrified to be near me, like I'm going to beat the shit out of her. Here's the crazy thing. When we fight, I'm the calm one. Do I ever explode? Yes, absolutely. It's quite rare though, but normally I talk slowly and quietly and just remain calm. Typically sad but calm sad. I have never hit her. I have tossed an empty plastic water bottle over my shoulder at her to display that I was upset, and I immediately regret it. She on the other hand has hit me multiple times on multiple different occasions. She has thrown things at me. Today she belittled me in front of her friends and I took it. Got quiet and later on after the occasion she eventually apologized. I did explode once during this. It's hard to keep everything in when you have to pretend like you're okay. It's just tough. Yeah, no. Like I said, I'm not perfect. Maybe next time I'll do better. We get home. Don't be confused, my explosion was shortly after I was explaining the situation. Her apology was much later. So we get home, and I'm asking her what some of her triggers are, because she mentioned to me that she doesn't tell me when I upset her sometimes. So it keeps happening and I have no idea. So I asked her for one of them, and I'm quiet, we are talking, and then she fucking relates it to the same shit she just apologized for, and for like the 5th time again I'm like, hey, that's my trigger. Stop fucking bringing it up. I take a deep breath, get my stuff out of the car and walk inside. It's been an hour, she won't even come inside. I go out there, and she says she doesn't want to look at me again for the rest of the night. I'm like, do you want to go to your sister's? Talk to her about how you feel, and work through it? Or I can book you an Airbnb to get away from me for a bit. Like I'm trying to show her that, if she genuinely feels trapped, she can go and get away from me in a healthier way. She tells me both of those sound awful. I don't get it. I really don't. She's sitting out there, and looks at me, like I'm some big bad scary man. I'm like, go to therapy. Work through your childhood trauma. Please. Edit. Just want to say thank you everyone. This really helped me realize that yeah, I'm in an abusive relationship. It's something I have always thought, but hearing other people say it feels nice. Another edit. People wonder why you don't leave these situations, so I will explain why. I know I need to leave, but from a mental standpoint I'm struggling with the idea of getting up and going to work, with living at all. Not from a being alive standpoint, from a making a choice standpoint. I'm so exhausted. Something happened again today. I can't anymore. I sat at the bottom of the shower and just cried slowly. I'm just not okay. So yeah, no, this is why people stay, because you're asking us to leave when we can't even walk. I don't even know how to leave. It seems so simple from the outside in, but not so much when you're in it. A friend died a few days ago and now I regret not talking more shit to him. One of my childhood friends died recently. About 6 years ago, when we were both in college, he suffered a life-altering stroke that completely changed the trajectory of his life. He was rendered unable to communicate or move. His old bedroom became suddenly riddled with wires and tubes that all connected to him. The man that I saw as a brother, the one I remember playing video games with, the one that would curse me out with a sheer vulgarity and aggression only a teenager could, the man I used to combine my allowance with to walk to Taco Bell within the days before we could drive, was in a state that I couldn't bear to see him in. Whenever I managed to manifest the courage to see him, I could barely manage words. Through tears, I remember saying, "Hey man, how are you?" and then leaving the room when silence was my only response. He died a few days ago, and now I'll live the rest of my life wishing I was strong enough to treat him like a friend when he needed it the most. Day 1 without self-harm. Hello internet strangers. This is the first day of my recovery. I'm going to post here every day without self-harm until I hopefully reach a year. This was supposed to be a throwaway account, but this is going to be a recovery account instead. So this is the first day I had in a long time, about 4 months, without sh, and I'm honestly determined to stop and feel better. I already feel better, because I know I'm going to be just fine. So now I'll just tell you about my day. I went to volunteer at the local zoo, even met a friend, and ate delicious food. I know it's not a lot, but it was one of the best days I've had in a long time. Anyway, have a nice day. If you smoke in your car while a child is in it, you're a ratchet ass piece of shit. I'm so tired of seeing people smoking cigarettes in cars with kids in them. This is the 21st century. Grow the fuck up. If you can't wait till you get home or stop somewhere without subjecting your child to cigarette smoke, then get a patch or some gum. The health reasons have been proven. Don't put your kids through your bad habits. Fucking nasty asses. Update 2. My M50 wife F48 abandoned me to find herself. My wife texted me in the middle of December that she'd be home for Christmas. I told her that we, our daughter and I, would be at my brother's. She obviously wasn't welcome. I'd leave her car in the driveway and the fob in the backyard. She wasn't allowed in the house unless I was there. She didn't have keys to get in. She spent Christmas with her sister. When we got back, I met with her. I decided not to be overly confrontational because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to be mad. She was taken aback about how detached Elle was. I could tell it bothered her that I didn't show her much emotion, not even anger. I just wanted her to agree to a divorce. This is a summary of several different meetings, both with and without our daughter. She hasn't wanted to meet with her mom alone yet. I asked why she left without telling anyone. She said she didn't want to wait a year. She didn't want anyone talking her out of it. She didn't want to work anymore. She wanted to leave before her mental health got worse. I'm sure it was mostly because she didn't want me to stop her from taking the money. She knew I would take care of everything with the kids and house when she left. We had decided to go summer of 2024 for a few reasons. Packing everything and getting the house ready to sell was going to be a lot of work. We wanted to make sure our daughter graduated college, got a job, and was settled. We wanted to make sure we had money when we got back. We wouldn't have a house, cars, or jobs, so we needed money because it could take months to find work and a place to live. We didn't want to have any worries or deal with a mess back home. At some point in our planning she began questioning, to herself, not me, if she ever wanted to go back to our old life. She didn't want to work full time or buy a house and stay in one place. After we got back, she wasn't sure what she wanted, but she didn't think she would figure it out talking to me. I told her that's the reason we were taking the trip, to figure those things out together, to see what we wanted for the next part of our life. I asked her why she didn't just get a divorce before she left, then she wouldn't have had to do this behind our backs and she would have had plenty of money without stealing our joint savings. She claims that she didn't want a divorce, that she wanted us to live whatever life she figured out. I told her that's not how marriages work, one person deciding for the other. In texting our daughter, her family, my texts and voicemails, she realized I might not forgive her. She was right about that, so she might have to visualize a future without me. This is where I had hoped she would say some stupid shit, like she was going to squander all her money living in a van and make travel vlogs, or she met some guy that she needed to wire money to so they could open an ice cream shop in Alaska. Instead she wants to be a digital nomad, working part-time fully remote, and living in new places. She tried to convince me to go with her, but I'll never be able to trust her, plus I don't love her anymore. Traveling like that for a few years doesn't sound bad, but she doesn't have a job or any work lined up. She's not in her 20s and that way of living will get old quick. No close friends, no family. I want her to make it work, so she won't be here trying to get back in our lives. 1. How are the kids doing? Our son wouldn't have seen us the entire time she was gone anyway. He only responds to her with very short texts. He told me she wanted to see him, but he said he was too busy and wouldn't be able to get away. He lives in the barracks, so it's an easy excuse to avoid her. My daughter stopped texting her. She's pretty upset. Her worry turned to anger when she realized her mom wasn't having a mental breakdown, but was just being selfish. If her mom was sticking around, they could probably work through it eventually. I just care that my daughter is happy, so whatever she decides I'll support. 2. Did she spend all the money? About half. I think she realized she needed to figure it out before she completely ran out of money. 3. Did she sleep with anyone? I didn't ask, because I didn't care. Asking would imply I wanted her back, or it would matter. Even though I didn't ask, she claims she didn't. Not sure if she's lying or not. She might just be saying that because she doesn't want the kids to have another reason to be mad at her. 4. Does she feel bad for what she put us through? She claims she does, and she wishes she had handled it differently. She said getting away and figuring herself out was best for her. I told her she was just being selfish. When she first left we were worried something would happen to her and we would never see her again. She's always been self-centered. I told her she's taking the easy route and letting everyone else handle the difficult parts. If she gets sick, kids will take care of her, goes broke, live with family, abandon everyone, they'll forgive her. She thinks her siblings and our children will let her live with them, like we let her mom live with us. I'm sure when she visualizes her future she sees our kids there. They might not be, and definitely not in the same way they were before. Despite how it might sound, I'm actually really happy with how it all turned out. Our divorce is far from final, but we've agreed on the big things. We'll sell the house, how to split the retirement and profit from the house, how to pay back the money she took, and what I spent maintaining the household. I got most of what I wanted from the settlement and she'll soon be, mostly, out of my life. I won't have to pay alimony, and because she's choosing to make significantly less money than she was, I won't be forced to support her. That would have been a kick to the teeth. She isn't my responsibility anymore, and I won't have to care for her if she does get sick or goes broke. I figured I'd start dating again. I didn't realize a 50-year-old man with children out of the house, a good job, and in decent shape would be a catch. I'm not fighting women off with a stick, but I've had a lot more interest than I expected. It's been kind of nice meeting new women. I've worked out the numbers and I'll be doing pretty well after everything is settled, and I only have to support myself. Not where I wanted to be. 50. Getting divorced and using Reddit's free therapy sessions. But I'm happier now than I've been in a while. I'm even planning a little vacation of my own. Peace. Thank you to everyone that has responded and reached out. It meant a lot.